international game. It ended in a goalless draw. Alcock had become FA secretary in 1870. The following year, he proposed the creation of a knockout tournament open to all members of the association, modelled on the inter-house competition that he'd known at Harrow. It was chaotic, with byes and withdrawals meaning that Queen's Park reached the semi-final without playing a game. Both semis were also played at the Oval, the home ground of the Surrey County Cricket Club, of which Alcock was also secretary. After drawing with Wanderers, Queen's Park decided that they couldn't afford to return to London for a replay. So Wanderers, the club founded by Alcock in 1863, and for which he still played at the time, went on to the final. It was played before 2,000 spectators, in which Wanderers beat Royal Engineers 1-0, a triumph all round for Alcock. And the cup proved to be a huge success, and as attendances grew, it became apparent that there was money to be made. So, clubs, especially from the industrial northern cities, began inducing players to join them, many coming from Scotland. Now that offended the amateur instincts of the founders of the FA, and in 1883-84, Preston were actually expelled for making payments to players. However, it was slowly accepted that if football was to be a sport for all, professionalism had to be permitted, and it was legalised in English football in 1885. The movement was accelerated by Pope Leo XIII's 1890 encyclical on capital and labour, De Rerum Novarum, which called for the promotion of sport to alleviate, quote, the misery and wretchedness pressing so unjustly on the majority of the working class. Elsewhere, the future FIFA president, Jules Rimet, a devout Catholic, was sufficiently inspired to set up his own football club in Paris, Red Star. It would be open to all. He dismissed amateurism as, quote, the antisocial pretension of a privileged oligarchy. The next step back in England was to create a structure of regular fixtures to guarantee clubs an income. And so, the Football League was founded in 1888, with a readmitted Preston, who were only expelled for 1 year, winning the first 2 titles. The average crowd in that first season was 4,600. This was clearly a spectator sport with a future. Of course, what's striking now is how far-sighted the league's founders were. They were aware that a successful team would draw bigger crowds, allowing them to make more money, and so buy better players, making them more likely to be successful, creating a self-replicating cycle that would lead to a small coterie of superclubs. Sounds familiar? Therefore, home sides were mandated to make a payment to the away side. Initially £10, but from 1918 until 1983, when it was abolished, 20% of gate receipts. And a maximum wage was introduced. Although that soon became a source of great frustration to players, the initial intention was to prevent richer teams being able to entice players from less wealthy rivals. So, by the end of the 19th century, the English League had expanded to 2 divisions. Football was taking root all around the world, and attendances for the biggest games were touching 60,000.